This is the all-new Toyota Avanza.
Cut! Dude, Veloz! Toyota Veloz!
Oh, Veloz. Well, pardon me. Sheesh. A few months ago, when Toyota launched the all-new Avanza in the Philippine market, many were asking, where's the Veloz? Well, here it is. Now, it may seem confusing, the Avanza and Veloz, but Toyota is now trying to distinguish the two by making the Veloz a separate nameplate for the Philippine market. Now, if you look at the vehicle, there are, of course, styling cues that make it look somewhat SUV, because that's what Toyota is marketing this as, even though the proportions are somewhat a bit more MPV. But what's more important to discuss here is what Toyota is doing when it comes to top hats. It's actually the principle of sharing platforms amongst different models within a brand or even with other brands. So in the case of the Avanza, the Veloz, they share the same platform along with the Daihatsu Xenia. Yes, this is also shared with Daihatsu, and it's made at the Toyota Daihatsu plant over in Indonesia. Now let's take a look at the exterior. The front, yep, it's very, very busy. You look at the grille, it's very distinct from the one in the Avanza, which has a much bigger front grille. Same with the headlights. One thing that's really interesting here, though, is Toyota used their motif that they use on a lot of their dealerships for the fog lamp bezels. It's kind of neat. You also have the underrider there with the silver trim piece or gray trim piece. It does look rather busy. It depends on you whether you think it looks great. When we walk over to the side, then we can show more of the differences with this vehicle. For one, the length has really been stretched. The previous Veloz measured just under 4.2 meters. This one is closer to 4.5. That's a huge difference along with the wheelbase. The other things worthy to note here is the size of the doors. I mean, these doors are a lot wider than before. I mean, a lot longer than before. Makes getting in and out should be a lot easier than that. But here, the rear door is the one that really got longer because, yeah, look at that opening. So it makes getting in and out of the second row and the third row. Yes, this is a 3-row crossover MPV style vehicle. So you can get to the third row from there. But if you look at the proportions, it's very much MPV, even though there are styling cues like the black cladding all around the vehicle. Other things worthy to know here, side mirrors. These are now mounted on the door, not on the A-pillar, or at least on the corner of the A-pillar. The wheels, these are 17 inches and they come with Turanza tires, which we really like. Another thing, front disc brakes, rear disc brakes, which is good. It's a big upgrade. Before it was drums in the back. And these are 5 studs. Pretty neat. Now we come to the back of the Veloz. As you can see, it's actually quite nice. It's a bit busy like the front. They have this continuous LED light bar here in the middle with the LED lights here. They have a kind of integrated rear spoiler with the tailgate, shark's fin antenna, rear wiper with washer. The Veloz is spelled out right there. And then the trim on the bumper matches the front very nicely. Once you open the tailgate, this is where it gets interesting. You see, I may not have as much seat time behind the previous Veloz as before, but I do have a lot of seat time with the Avanza. Actually, the second gen Avanza for 3 years. I drove one for 3 years with my old company. And the third row of this one is very, very different. Because for one, it's kind of integrated into the platform, but we'll get to that later. Measurements. This one is about 14 inches from here to the back of that, about 51 inches wide as it is right now. Your spare tire is underneath here, and you lower it using a 14 millimeter bolt. Here, come on, take a look at this. Lower it using I think it's a 14 millimeter bolt or something. I'm not sure. Hopefully I don't have to use that. But when you start folding down the seats, that's when the real difference is. Because in the previous one, in the previous generation Avanza and Veloz, I'm not sure about the Veloz, but I know it was fold down and then tumble because it does not level out with the rear floor. In this configuration, it's about 42 inches to the back of the middle row and about 40 inches wide between the wheel arches. The opening here is also about 42. But what's interesting here is that you can fold down all the seats to give you maximum cargo space. It's actually very good what Toyota did with this. We kind of wish they did all this with a Fortuner. Now you see the difference. With vehicles like even the Fortuner, the seats fold up. These ones fold down flat. And in this configuration, the maximum length goes up to 6. And by 6, I mean feet. That means I can lie down there with about 6 inches more to spare. Now I'll just say it, the third row of the Veloz is a lot better than what I thought it would be. I mean, it's actually quite comfortable. You have this headrest here, just like before, but the room here is good. We have 2 cup holders there, pockets here. There's also a 12-volt outlet over there, so you can charge while you're here. You don't have to bother the people in front. But you do have to bother them if you want control of the AC, although you can reach over, no problem. But that AC is actually quite different. We'll talk more about that later. But what's more important here are the considerations they made. You know what? Go around. Let's show you this. Now, the reason I say it's more comfortable is because Toyota switched to a new platform and they were able to lower the floor here in the back. So it gives you much better knee room compared to the middle row. I mean, versus the back, because right now I can actually survive a long drive in this as it is. But there are 2 things I want to know right here. The first is that the thing here, they could have done better with the 60-40 split of this seat. And also, if you're going to sit here in the back for a long drive, make sure the people who sit here in the back are not too nauseous, because you are beyond the wheelbase, beyond the wheelbase of the vehicle, so it will feel a bit bouncier. What Toyota did to the second row of the Veloz and also the Avanza, I'm sure this also applies, is quite profound compared to the previous generation. I mean, for one, the seats are better. The leatherette, it's not fantastic, but it is what it is. But it's more of the position of everything. For instance, you sit in it more naturally like a car. It doesn't feel like you're sitting in the previous generations, you're a bit upright. This one, it's more natural. The scalloping for the backrest is nice. There's even a center armrest right here if you don't need to have someone sitting there in the middle, which is nice. They have the raised portion, so it's comfortable. If you notice, there are no cup holders here. And the reason for that is that there are cup holders on the doors, which is much more intuitive. 1, 2, there's also one in the middle. I think this one would be for the guy here in the middle. If you look down there, there are 2 charging ports, USB 2.1 amps. Why it's positioned there is so you can run a wire up to here. That's my phone right there. There's a dedicated pocket for it, which is cool. I wish Toyota had a little cut out here so you can poke through the charging cable down there, so it's more upright, but no matter. There's also a pocket here. The back of the front seat is actually scalloped for this pocket, so it gives you a bit more knee room if you need it. But if you do need more knee room, what you can do is you can slide down these seats, no problem there. See, and then you can also recline this middle row, no problem, several positions. But even the third row, the backrest, they actually have 9 positions which you can adjust it to. It's very minute. I counted earlier. But some of the more significant changes here are down below, because the change in the platform, we'll discuss why later, but it allowed them to put the floor a little bit lower. So it just, feels a lot better than before. The other change is right up here, the AC system, or at least the rear blower system. Instead of going for the vents where you kind of point it to your direction, you still have the directional knob here, so you can go left and right. But what Toyota did is they went for deflectors instead of that. So for example here, like when you pull this down, this is just a plastic flap, but it deflects the air going downward to whoever's sitting here. It's similar to what planes do with ailerons or elevons, that kind of thing, which is kind of neat. It's different, but it's still kind of neat. Let's check out the front. There's a lot of changes there too. Now let's show you the interior or the front of the new Toyota Veloz. So the first thing that will really surprise you, especially if you've driven a previous generation one is the change in the seating position. It's more car-like, which is good. I'll explain why later. Steering wheel, it's nice, got a leather wrap with a nice stitch. Full digital instrument cluster, which is really good. The tachometer looks really different. Now, one of the things I like here is this little cup holder. Now, a cup holder is normal, I mean, in front of the AC, but you can cool down your drinks or cool down your coffee or keep your cold drinks cold. But what I like about it, there's a little thing here that keeps phones upright, which is good. Now, for the rest of the features, you know what? Go around to the other side. I'll show you. So, if you don't want your phone to be here, you can actually put it right down here. See this? That is a wireless charger, very well placed. Now, looking here in the middle, you've got your electronic parking brake with auto brake hold, which is good for traffic. Your drive selector here, PRND, S in manual mode on the right side. Ignition button there. You have your climate control system here, which is very nice. It even has, it's basically, yeah, climate control has the auto button right there. I won't press it, it'll just go loud. But what I like about this is the considerations that Toyota had when it comes to the charging. I mean, you have the charging here and also the pockets. For example, I have my wallet down in this pocket right here, right there. There's a pocket by my knee, which is good. It's nice and tucked away. There's another smaller pocket here, and it has 2 USB ports right there, which is surprising because the Avanzas I knew before, I knocked on it because they didn't have even 12-volt outlets in the first ones that they came out with in the Philippine market, which is surprising. Now, what's striking here is that Toyota seems to have come up with an entirely new parts bin for the Avanza and the Veloz, because none of the switches, none of the buttons, none of the steering wheel, the controls, nothing, none of them look familiar to me from the previous one, which is a good thing. It means they really came up with a new parts bin for the vehicle. Although one thing that does stand out right here, the SRS airbags. And hopefully we never have to put it to the test, but this one has 6 airbags. And that's because Toyota is really focusing in on safety for a lot of their vehicles. That's why this vehicle has Toyota Safety Sense. So pre-collision, you have your auto high beam as well as your lane departure alert. You even have blind spot warning and rear cross traffic alert. You know what? For more of those features, go around the back. Right. Now that from that vantage point, I can show you what's going on with the interior, with the features of this. I can't really show you the other safety features like the anti-lock brakes or the stability control or the hill start assist, but I can show you this one. It is the PVM or panoramic view monitor. Barney, can you close that door for me, please? Thank you. And there you go. It gives you a 360 view of the car, and it gives you many different views. This one is a front view. The one view I really like is this one. It's the side, because the cameras are mounted on the side mirrors. It gives you a view of where you are when you park or when you're going around the drive-thru, which is good. There's another view for the front, and then there you go. This also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you can access it via the USB port down there. It has 6 speakers, and there you go. I think Toyota really pulled out all the stops for the Veloz. What I do wish they put in this one, though, is the adaptive cruise control, given that it has all the features already in place. Now let's take a look at what's under the hood of the Veloz. Now it's best to keep in mind that this is not a premium vehicle. So what we see when we go under the hood, it's going to be a bit busier. You'll see in a second. Pop open that. Go around here. Go around that. Ooh, pretty hot. As you can see, the engine bay of the Veloz, well, for one, it's very spacious, and 2, it's very busy. They didn't really try to cover anything up with plastic with the engine bay of this. So that's what I was saying. They're not really trying to spend on that. They want to put the features, the money elsewhere. But the engine bay, yes, it's very spacious because the engine is only a 1.5 liter It's gasoline and it makes 106 horsepower and 138 Newton meters of torque. If you take a peek down there, you can see the transmission, the CVT. All versions of this have the CVT. You can see the air filter with the nozzle, well, the intake right there, battery, hydraulic braking, ABS right there, AC system, normal car stuff. But you can see a lot of things they tried to do to make it more affordable, to make it more cost effective. For one, they did not paint the metal inside anymore. It just comes in the primer gray or that kind of coating. They didn't try to color key it with the body. There are two things here that I really want to point out. For one, it's the orientation of the engine. Come in, take a closer look. If you can see the engine, it's transverse, meaning it's along the width of the vehicle. What that means is this is now front-wheel drive. The previous Avanzas and the Veloz, it was longitudinal, meaning all the cylinders were lined up that way. So what happens here is that it does save you a bit more space, which is why it also looks very, very spacious in the engine bay. And two, it makes a lot of fundamental changes with the way the interior is. I'll show you later. The other one is over there. There's a little plate there that says Toyota Motor Corporation, designed by Daihatsu in Japan and made in Indonesia. But beyond the many new features on the Toyota Avanza Veloz, what I think is more important here are the changes to the platform of the vehicle, because that is really what counts more when it comes to the interior space. I mean, you can always add features as technology becomes more developed or as the features become more affordable to put into vehicles. But what's great here is that Toyota and Daihatsu, yes, Daihatsu, they focus on the fundamentals. They widened the tread of the vehicle, front and back. That gives you more room to play with inside, so it gives you more hip room, so on and so forth. They also stretched out the wheelbase. That gives you more leg room inside the vehicle. And by going front-wheel drive, what that gives you is the ability to fold down the third row flat instead of before, where it's just on top of the floor, so that it gives you a nice fold flat space, because the torsion beam on this does not take up as much room as a rear differential. So now we come to the pricing of the all-new Toyota Veloz.
Finally!
Thank you. So I finally got it right. But the price of this one is 1.2 million. And that's because it has the pearl white. It's the most expensive version of the Veloz you can get, because it has a Toyota safety sense, the wireless charging, all those other features. But really what's more important are the changes Toyota made to make the vehicle better right from the ground up. So you guys who drive the current generation Avanza or Avanza Veloz, let us know what you think about this new model from Toyota. Did they really make it better? Do you like the new look? Let us know down below. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya.com.